You come from the O. The U is a half of O. You come out the O. The oval, the open, the ove, the V, the va, the vagina. Earth is like earth. Earth is an ear, right? Water is feminine, land is masculine. Landline, straight. Y is more linear than X. For example, pros versus cons. The O is good because it's two O's, get it? Because it's curved. The P is the pregnant letter. The N in con is negative because it ends in a consonant. The sharpening of the M, like mom to non, is negative as a straight line, right? The negative sign. Nothing, no thing. Angles are masculine. Angus.
Semitic languages. And obviously, Phoenicia gives us our phonetic sounds. And this is exactly why we have our language, which is the Ang age, which comes from the Angus bull or the cow. And if you know the true etymology of the word England, you would know that it comes from the Angland or Angela, the Angles, which is the English. So yes, it is the English bull language. And you'll notice in the Greek alphabet that the A and the L are both the same because it's the fire fertility of the bull penis. The A symbol is the symbol of red hot fire. Thus, the stars planted to you about religion. And the only why you'll see Jesus. Was it just my type? Oh, na, 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 na. So later, I'm going to explain how the fertility of the male moon god Nana came from the ancient goddess of Nana, or An, which was also known as Anu. So the king ruler god Enlil was known as the Lord of the Air, and that's exactly why
say Parthenogenesis definition, and then I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna further elaborate before I get into this bill on why you're so destructive. Look up Parthenogenesis. Parthenogenesis. Hit your voice app. See my phone? Hit your Google and say Parthenogenesis definition, and it will tell you. Long story short, when an organism can fertilize or impregnate itself without the help of a male counterpart. Now, I know a lot of people like to get fancy and say, well, it says that mammals can't do it. You don't study genetics or biology because you would know that we're not mammals. We have reptilian DNA. This is why the first part of our brain right here is called the reptilia. And guess what the first layer of your brain deals with? Your physical self. This is why you have webbed hands. This is why when you're in the womb you look like a little tadpole. This is why when the woman is pregnant she has what? Eggs. I don't know no mammal that got eggs. Now it might be one now that they made in a lab, or maybe I didn't do the knowledge. But to right now, 22 years of physically manifesting myself within this physical shell, I never seen no mammal with no eggs. So do the knowledge. The black woman, what happened was, in the bone marrow of the black woman, she has lost this ability because her X chromosome is not its strongest potential anymore. So she has lost this ability. So don't try to get smart and say, well, when I see a woman, I'm gonna do it, because that is no longer a reality anymore. The reality now is that she doesn't have that ability unless we start genetically strengthening ourselves. But that's another topic. Now getting back on, we need feminine energy in the world. That's what it is. Facts. Now getting back on point. Facts. Now what happens is the black woman was able to produce semen in her bone marrow and release this semen out of what you call her Bartholin glands through what you call the Bartholin duct. Now the Bartholin gland is two small pea-shaped, pea-sized organs on each side of the woman's vagina, and you barely can see them because they are underneath the layer of the skin of the vagina. But if you feel around, you can feel them. They feel like little bumps. Now those Bartholin glands secrete liquid, fluid, out of what you call the Bartholin duct directly into the chute of the vagina. And this is how a woman's vagina now gets wet. She don't need your help to get wet. So now picture her getting wet. At one point in time, this moisture contained semen. And when she got wet, she impregnated herself and gave birth. And then I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to further elaborate.
And an alkaline diet. That's why we call a sun a sun. See how you came out the O? Sun, sun. Someone's son had you. Everything is feminine. Melanin goes with the sun.
This is why you
Now, this next thing that I'm going to explain, when you hear what I'm saying, I need you to have an open mind, because a lot of people's default reaction is going to turn to racism. And that made up bullshit term has thrown everybody off. There's no such thing as racism, because we're not a race. Everybody is a different species, okay? Or a different being. Let me describe the sun, okay? To some beings on this planet, the sun is deadly to you. To natives, and again, do your research. I know who I am, a native. To us native carbon copy beings, the sun is healing to us. So it has nothing to do with racism and saying you're trying to say you're better. It's saying, no, our genetic makeup buildup is different from those. It's because I don't want to look sick. The reason we change colors is because we are soaking up that solar radiation. And that solar radiation actually heals and activates a lot of our original being people who are like me, because it's giving off the sun rays to feed your nervous system, your solar system.
This is why you should start sun gazing during sunrise and sunset. For the people who didn't know, the sun emits full light spectrum. So that's why when you gaze at the sun, you start to receive light codes, which is information. Every time your eyes come into contact with the sun, you are receiving downloads. Our ancestors knew looking directly at the sun was very beneficial. Whenever the sunlight comes into contact with your eyes or retina, you start to stimulate your pituitary and your pineal gland. Same chemical that's in your skin, hair, and nails is in the sun. That's what the ancient Egyptians called melanin. As black people, we all have neuromelanin all throughout our body. That's why I'm telling my followers you should start sun gazing, because it stimulates the melanin all throughout your body. Sun has an electromagnetic frequency that heals our body. This is why people with depression are known for having low vitamin D, because they're not getting enough sun. If you want to improve your mood and boost your feelings and emotions, then you have to come outside and start sun gazing and getting sun. I don't know who told y'all if you look at the sun too long, you're gonna go blind. That is what some programmed person told you, because the sun has so many benefits for us. So if you're somebody who wearing glasses, you can literally start sun gazing right now and improve your eyesight. Sunlight that comes from the sun helps improve your retina. Technically speaking, that can improve your eyesight. You sun gaze, your eyes are like a solar panel drawing in light. All that photon energy radiated from the sun, where do you think it goes when it comes into contact with your
The truth about the sun, melanin, and plants.
Some people call it Yahushua. Some people, the Christians call it Jesus. The Comedics call it Amen Ra. The shaman people call it a different name. It's so many names, but showing that we are solar people, we are children of the sun, because we are made of biochemical makeup called carbon or melanin or sugar. And this literally eats the ultraviolet sun rays of the sun, and it converts it over into cholesterol. The cholesterol convert these things over into polymers. Now we got biofuels, and we go through an iontrophorophysis photosynthesis just the same way like chloroplasts and plants do. And this is what gives us vitality and give us fuel for.
And one of the biggest myths that I battle every day.
It's just something.
Look what society did to me. People, get over it. By the time these young people get ready to have children, they will realize that as the hole in the ozone layer gets larger and larger, more and more sunlight is allowed to enter our environment, and more people who have pale faces are going to die of melanoma, which is a skin cancer that you get if you don't have enough melanin in your skin. Let me tell you, people of color are going to be very much in demand for reproduction in the future. And mark my words, you're laughing now.
The record number of fires burning.
There's somebody even studying that and wondering whether energy is directly absorbed from the melanin in your skin and transformed into energy in your body. Okay? And they even think about could in the future, and they're developing this now, they're taking melanin and making batteries out of them that store energy from the sunlight directly. It might in fact become a future source of how we're going to generate energy. Now, let's background. Let's talk about melanin inside chaga and melanin inside the body. For example, Frank Barr, a scientist.
Everyone says melanin is condensed sunlight, but they never tell you how. This is my simple breakdown of how melanin is.
Okay, what is your favorite?
Welcome to McDonald's.
What's the wildest opening line?
Man, you talk a lot of
Quick thought. Did you know that the more melanin that you have in your body, the more sound you can absorb and the more light you can absorb?
You need the sunbathe to reproduce and the vitamin D, get it? Sun makes you dark. Nothing, no thing, male, under the sun is new. Melanin makes melatonin when the sun's not out. First electrons to collapse into a form of matter of its lower vibration is the melanated female.
Most famous experiments in the history of physics. The experiment of Thomas Young, the double slit experiment. It was a real coup in physics and led many scientists into the study of quantum mechanics. If you throw solid balls at a shield with a slit cut into it, a single diffuse strip designating the strike points will appear on the screen behind the shield. If there are two slits in the shield, then there will be two strips. But how will waves behave if aimed at the shield? They will pass through the slot and spread out. The greatest impact of the waves will be in the line of the slit, as in the case with the balls. But if you add a second slit, everything changes. A number of alternating interference strips will appear on the projection screen. And when we shine light on the two strips, this is exactly what happens. And this is how Mr. Young proved the wave theory of light. If light were corpuscular, like a particle, instead of wave-like, it would behave like the balls, and the screen would show two strips of light corresponding to the two slits. That didn't happen. Later, it turned out that electrons and protons behave exactly the same way, showing that they also seem to exist as waves and not as points. There was one assumption that perhaps light and the others were particles and that somehow the particles bumped into each other and flew apart. So, to test this, physicists decided to shoot electrons at the target one by one, single file. And what do you think happened? The strangest thing imaginable. The interference pattern still appeared on the screen. It seemed that the single electrons somehow divided into two waves, passed through both slits, then interfered with themselves. Impossible. So physicists tried to find out through which gap the electron actually passes. They installed measuring instruments to check this. Another seeming impossibility occurred. The electrons stopped behaving like waves and began acting like particles, and left a trace on the screen of two distinct strips with no interference. They had to admit something completely mind-blowing, that the fact of our observation or measurement destroyed the wave function of the photons, causing them to become like points, corpuscular. The electron, under the influence of observation, behaved like a particle, flying through one slit and not through two. Interpretations. Well, it certainly looks like the work of a game engine, doesn't it? This might make you think that our world is running like a game on a computer. The computer's power is not enough to calculate the motion of each and every particle, so it uses a simplified model and applies precise calculations only if an observer needs to look at the particle, so as not to break the illusion of the remember what.
You conceive in the dark. You are conceived in the dark. You come out the dark.
To create antimatter. Recently it was revealed that the energy of a lightning bolt is so great that even antimatter can be formed. To create antimatter, you need a particle accelerator. You need an atom smasher to create antimatter in the laboratory.
I was today years old when the particles that make up everything around us, they all have evil twins. These antimatter particles are the same mass as normal particles.
This demonstrates the enormous amount of power released when you totally convert matter to energy, which is what happens when antimatter and matter are combined. So back to our power source. Inside the reactor, element 115 is bombarded with a proton, which plugs into the nucleus of the 115 atom and becomes element 116, which
So antimatter is real, but it's also not scary.
In one of my last videos, I talked about antimatter.
and I made a mistake.
If you've ever wondered how matter and antimatter annihilate,
Scientists are a step away from creating a black hole, a scientific experiment that could lead to the apocalypse. Articles with similar headlines began surfacing in the press in the early 2000s. The Large Hadron Collider.
It's peaceful in the dark, in the womb, in the water. The ata, ma'at, land, male, tis, feminine like sis, sister, sissy. Atlantis, amu, mu, amur, her. Amari, Amiri, Amur, Amu, the land of Mu, Erica, America, America, Anu. The M is feminine, Ma'at, Ma, Mom, Moom, Mum. You come out the O, Mon, Monet, money. That's why we the only ones that have Atlanta off the Atlantic. Now the two slit theory of the XX in response to sunlight collapses to XY, like a wave pattern. A wave is feminine, the V for vagina, the double V, the double U, W. The observed, which is sunlight/light, the sun, masculine. Like water and sound waves behave the same. It's fluid, the curve of water, but it can be a gas or it can be ice, a solid. What other properties, laws can do that? We are a form of women, men out of the womb, the Om, the perfect sound from the perfect shape, the circle, which leads to the Fibonacci sequence. 369 is curved numbers. The only lucky number is the almost 45-degree angle of 7, or L. L, more, mermaid, from Lana, or Anna, Ella, L, or Lo. That's the Lo, her, and him, when they say let us make him in our image. The Fibonacci sequence is a circular pattern like a pregnancy. Divine Fibonacci, words that end in vowels are feminine. Plants are even male and female and take sunlight to make food like Parthenogenesis. Black holes collapse matter and make light, or like a copy, or reproduce. Women are black holes, the vagina. That matter goes in and the light of your life comes out, the sun. Antimatter or plasma or dark matter, magnetized goo.
This magnetic slug-like robot could be used to retrieve foreign objects swallowed into the human body. The reconfigurable robot is controlled by magnets. It can pass through narrow passages, trap, transport, and release multiple delicate objects, and recover after being cut apart. The research team from the Chinese University of Hong Kong is planning to further explore its medical application in the gastrointestinal tract.
Nowadays, even a convention.
How bizarre is this? Have you ever seen something like this before? This material is rather strange. It's called ferrofluid, also known as magnetic liquid. Not many liquids do this, and this is because this liquid has got tiny nanoparticles, magnetites, in it. This is Materials Lab.
So if we look at this energy field around this black goo, ferrofluid, realize that your aura works the same way. You just can't visibly see it. When a negative person comes around you, they're affecting your aura. They're disrupting your aura and your natural ability to vibrate at a
Black goo is known as ferrofluid and
Novargo blueprint, in case you didn't know.
Scottish tap water after electrolysis.
And poured in a jug. As you can see, it's like a black goo. It reacts really strongly to magnetism.
This mysterious substance is simply known as black goo. It is mined from deep underground and in complete secrecy. This mysterious
moon cycles, right? Women periods have cycles. Periods are round, beginning and end, like the Ouroboros. The snake can curve and straighten. The S looks like a snake. The pineal gland makes you dream, which has your melanin, like Kaaba, Merkaba, which is her house. Kabbalah, chakra. You got to sit in a submissive position, feminine. Kundalini, feminine. Kunda, kunta, kunt, kunt, kuni, kani, poom, poom. Right? Those are vaginas. The snake goes up the rod, the god, the male, and has sex, like the Karma Sutra, the karma being feminine energy, sutra or suture, to bind or stitch together, to mend energies. Water and tide cycles tied to the moon, right? Luna, lunar, la luna, una, one, uno, Lilith. Earth is 80% water, your body's 80% water. It's like a shower, show her. Wa, wata, waat, her water. Mama wata, dark matter. The law of the land is different from the law of the maritime, Immaculate Conception Mary. We on the land, but we're under the maritime law at birth. Fighting the penile system, the penis, male system, pin or pin to confine, or like a rod cylinder. Space is dark. Space is a place. Locations are feminine, earth, city, home, ha, her, om, her womb, home. Perfect vibration, right? The om. Vehicles are usually referred to as feminine. She's a beaut. Come on, old girl. Women built to create. The body naturally produces food for the young, nozzle and all, the breast milk. This is why men have nipples. We're a copy, either a mutation or even evolution. Or the two-slit theory. We are observed particles and they are unobserved particles. That's why they were the first. Parthenogenesis, right? So with the two-slit theory, it's like when the sun observes them, it stays matter form, and when it's unobserved before the sun, they were a wave pattern. I'm out.